Today we will be looking at reasoning about triangle and quadrilateral properties. So before we start, we need to look at a few definitions. So a midpoint is the point on a line segment that divides the line into two equal parts. So on this diagram here, you can see that M is the midpoint of line AB because it's the point on the line segment that divides the line into equal parts. Likewise, N is the midpoint of line AC because you can see it's the halfway point. It divides into two equal parts. The second definition we need to learn is midsegment. So midsegment is the line segment joining the two midpoints of two adjacent sides. So MN is a midsegment because it's a line segment joining two midpoints, M and N. The final term we need to learn is conjecture. So that's a guess or a prediction made on limited evidence, so kind of like a hypothesis. We are now going to investigate the properties of various shapes according to what we just learned, so midpoints and midsegments. And to do this, we're going to actually be using conjectures in the investigation. I now want you to work on your own or with a partner to do the following investigations. They will help you learn about the various properties associated with midpoints and midsegments.
Okay, so once you've completed the investigation on your own, I just want to summarize the findings that you should have realized. Okay, so here's the follow-up. So after you completed investigation A, which basically made you realize certain things about the midsegments of triangles. So what you should have realized first, I want to remind you that this is the midsegment, right? Because D is a midpoint, it's the halfway point between A and B, and E is the midpoint between A and C. So when you connect those two midpoints, you create a midsegment. So this midsegment, you should have realized, is always going to be parallel to the third side of the triangle. That happens every single time with any triangle you create. The second thing you should have realized is that that midsegment will always, always, always be half the length of that third side, the side you don't use in the creation of the midsegment. And again, that happens for every single triangle. Okay, so if I gave you a question on a test and I said BC is 4 meters, what's the length of DE? You would know that the midsegment is always half the length of the third side. So you would say DE is 2 meters because I know that it's always half the length of the third side. Okay? In the second investigation, it was all about quadrilaterals, and what you should have realized is that no matter what quadrilateral you have, so a four-sided shape, right? This one looks very different than this one. Okay, no matter what four-sided shape it is, if you plot all of their midpoints, so remember midpoints are the halfway point on each side, and then you connect all those dots and form a quadrilateral, it will always, always, always be a parallelogram. So that means this will always be parallel to this side, this will always be parallel to this side, and same here, this will always be parallel to this side, and this will always be parallel to this side. That happens every single time. Okay, so those are the important points from each investigation that hopefully you realized.